Hey, thanks for joining me today. I would like to talk to you about how I get my first drafts written in 30 days. And this is something that took me a while to figure out, but now that I have it figured out, it works really well for me. So I hope that it will help you as well. I have put together, actually, you can see that I have it marked out on a monthly calendar, and it is included in this book that I put together and use with my clients. So from book idea to first draft in 30 days. And I find that it really helps me to set a deadline. And so 30 days seems to be a really good window. I have written a first draft in as short as one weekend. I did that with one of my coaches, and it was just too much for me. If you are wanting something like that, I certainly can help you with that. But I find that for most people, 30 days is more reasonable, and you don't get all tired out from putting all of your time and energy into writing. So I have included days for rest and prayer because I believe that that is important, and it's biblical. I mean, even God rested after he finished creation. So if he rested, I believe that he set an example for us to follow. And I believe that we are more productive. And actually, science shows that we are more productive when we do rest. So those are days that I have set for every Sunday. On the first Monday, I have scheduled in how to build how to build my prayer team. So I have a prayer team already, so I would just contact them and ask them to pray specifically for the next few days as I write. But if you don't have a prayer team, I go over that in my book. And then the next day, I would do a brain dump. So I find that my brain gets clogged sometimes with all of the details that I'm thinking about, and just setting the timer and writing down everything that comes to my mind without filtering it seems to clear my mind and make me able to think better. The next day I'll spend on market research, and I believe it's really important to do that before you start writing, because it just doesn't make sense to pour your time and energy into writing if you're not going to be able to sell the book. The next day, I work on an outline, and I find an outline really helpful so that when I come, I don't have a blank screen. I know what I'm going to write about, and it gives me kind of like a roadmap to follow. Sometimes that map changes along the way, but at least it gives me a starting point. And then the next day, I would work on an introduction. And along with the rest and prayer time on each week, I also include just a day to get outside, because we spend way too much time in front of our computer screens. At least I do. So I built that buffer in to get outside, and also as a buffer so that if my week was full and there was 1 or 2 days that I didn't end up getting my task done for the day, that at the end of the week I have a day to catch up, and then I don't feel pressured like I'm falling behind. After resting and praying again, then I would dive into research. So after I make my outline, I usually find areas that I need to do some research on, and doing my research ahead of time helps me so that I don't stop, because I get so tempted to dive into details if I stop writing and start researching. So by doing the research ahead of time, it makes me more efficient as a writer. The next day I would work on chapter 1 and 2, and then chapter 3 and 4, and 5 and 6, and 7 and 8. So by the end of the second week, week 2, I would have 8 chapters written. The next week would be chapters 9 and 10, 11 and 12, 13 and 14, 15 and 16, and 17 and 18. So by the end of week 3, I would have 18 chapters written. And the next week, I would write chapters 19 and 20. This is assuming that your nonfiction book has 20 chapters. It might have fewer, it might have more. You would just divide up your chapters accordingly. And then the next day would be working on the conclusion, because that's really important to make sure that everything is tied together. Then the next day working on beginning matter, and following that with end matter, and then self-editing. I find it really important to just go through the whole manuscript and give it a good read and correct what I can see. And you can use tools like Grammarly. They are very helpful as well. And then the final step is sending your manuscript to beta readers. And I talk more about this in my training, but beta readers are really important. You need to give them questions, specific questions, so they know what you're looking for. And I find that my beta readers save me a lot of money when it comes to editing, because they go through my manuscript and they give me really good feedback. So I hope that's helpful for you to see an overview of 30 days and to know that it is possible. You can write your first draft in 30 days. Have a great day.